Hey guys, as some of you know, I put in a Freedom of Information Act request for the City of Olympia and the Olympia Police Department to get the footage of the transit station where Tiny got shot on September 4th. I was given a response that they were going to send it to me, and then instead of sending it to me, they put it out on Twitter and said, well, we already released it, so there you go. The problem, however, is that I actually requested for all of the footage of all of the cameras on that day at that location, and they weren't going to give it to me because they said that it was still part of an active investigation. However, they gave it to somebody else, who then gave it to somebody else, who then gave it to me. So we're going to go over all the footage, and we're going to show you guys exactly what happened and what exactly went down. And the first thing I'm going to say before we even get into that is that I was wrong. Yes, I do make mistakes. From my vantage point and from my camera angle, even from my footage, it looked like they all jumped on a bus. They did not. Well, we will see that here in a little bit. But before I begin, I want to just let everybody know, just take a quick second and let everybody know that I have 2 crowdfunding links in the description of this video, so that if you guys, it tells you exactly what they're for, and that is exactly what they will be for. And if you guys want to help me out, check those out. And if you just want to help me survive, check out the links in the description to all the other funding options that you guys have and you guys can do to keep me going. Now, let's get into the footage. So this very first video is the one that they released on Twitter. Everybody's already seen this. It shows them walking in. It shows a little bit of an altercation that happened down below. Guys running through the bushes, turns, and then fires. And then Tiny does a little double step. Dude runs away. Tiny's limping. As he mentioned during his interview, he thought he stepped on a firework, and then he realized, nope, that's not what happened at all. And then he's just kind of limping around. This next bit of footage is another angle. Kind of see what happened down there towards the sign a little bit better. See somebody kind of push the shooter into the bushes, and then they're walking. Right here's where Tiny gets shot. The guy coming up right there with the camera, that is Free Press Media. He was also hit with ricochet in his leg. So all these videos are going to be of the incident, and they're going to be different angles of the shooter and Antifa running away. As you can see here, there's another angle of the Antifa shooter shooting, and you can kind of see him running off to the top of the screen there as the rest of Antifa kind of took off to the left. Now this next clip, you can see it from across the street there. It's against the building. Antifa's running. The shooter is right there coming by the bus, and you can see him coming out the back of the bus. Same thing. There's the shooter. Shooter again. Here's a still of him. And I included this because this kind of shows you kind of what, I mean, this is what the people who were there dealt with. I mean, this was the fear that these people had, you know, running. Running into the building for safety. This shot here is another shot of the shooter running away. You can see he kind of disappears off to the right side of the screen there, but then just keep watching. You can see him running across the street on the top of the screen. Going through a parking lot. And you can also see that he's all by himself. There is no other Antifa with him at this point. He's separated completely from the group. Another angle of the same thing again. Right here is when he reholsters his weapon, puts it back behind his back, and then takes off running once more. The whole time he was running through the transit center, he had his pistol in his hand still until he got to that point. Now, this is from the rooftop, and you can see in the top left corner of your screen the shooter running back, and he goes behind that trailer there, comes out the other side, and hits the side of the building. Now I'm going to replay this with a slow motion. Now pay attention to the top left corner of the screen there. You can see him going through, and right here he's ripping off his hoodie. And this is what Antifa does. This is a normal Antifa MO. They go out, they disappear, and then all of a sudden they take off their Antifa clothing to try to blend in better. Now this is another angle. This angle is from further down the transit center. The shooting happened right on the other side over there. Antifa running off to the right. And here's the shooter right here coming up towards the left side of the screen. These are just the passerbys. Look at the terror, the literal terror that these people are in right now. And there's a shooter going by right there. I mean, the lady literally left her walker. Here we have another angle. The shooting is taking place to the back left corner, kind of behind us here. You can see Antifa running there on the left and the shooter right there on the right. This camera is facing the shooting. You can see Antifa running on the right-hand side of the screen. One guy kind of gets separated, comes off to the left, comes back around, and the shooter is on the top of the screen there. Here's another angle. The people we saw earlier are up on top of the screen. There's Antifa going up on the left, and the shooter going up there on top. So that's pretty much all of the footage on the shooter. Now we're going to be looking at the other main group of Antifa and where they went. So this is an angle right over the top of a bus. You can see them coming through and running alongside the transit stop. One thing that's interesting is this guy who's sitting on the bench right here. Like nothing phases him. You can see the shooter take off right there on the top left-hand corner of the screen. Everybody else is running. This angle will be from behind as they run up. Now this is the bus I thought they were all getting into, and you will see here in a minute why I thought they were going in from the distance that I was at. So I saw them at this point in time where they're all kind of stacked up right there. And then they all moved in front of the bus. Now, where I was at, there was no way to tell that they were in front. I could not see to the left of that bus from where I was. So that was the only view that I got. Here they are again running. Now on this one you can see the shooter on the top of the screen there, but you can also see everybody else kind of running underneath. Another shot of the bus. Kind of looked like that individual was trying to get into the bus. I don't know. Looked like you flipped them off there. Can't really tell. It's not the best video quality. This is the oncoming to the bus. Now, this is right in front of the bus, what you guys are going to be seeing in this clip. They come up, they slow down, trying to figure out where they're going to go, and then take off across the street. And you can see this employee here, he's getting on his radio. This is from across. This is that same guy up on the top right-hand corner of the screen there. This is from the other side. You can see Antifa in the top left-hand corner of the screen running right now. And then in the top right-hand corner of the screen here, you will be able to see their feet again, kind of just walking across the street. The same moment from another angle, just to the right of the bus. Notice that once they actually got to the other end, they aren't running anymore. They are walking across the street. They are walking into the alleyway on the other side, where they take off to the left. For somebody who thought they were being shot at, they do not seem to be in that big of a hurry. Which would lead anybody to believe, anybody with half of a brain to believe and to understand that the whole narrative that came out after this, that Tiny shot himself or was shooting at them, was they knew. They already knew. They just tried to lie. Now, this camera is the last one, and this is very cool because they actually follow them. There's the shooter right there on the left that kept on going. Antifa ran down below there, as you saw, and then they actually moved the camera to follow them, so people were watching live as this was happening and controlling the camera. And as you guys can see again, Antifa is in no hurry crossing the street. So there you have it. There is all of the footage of what transpired on September 4th, 2021, when Tiny Tusitala Toese was shot by an Antifa member. Now, once again, I'm going to include this in this video because the media needs to get it right, because so far they have gotten it very, very wrong. The entire reason that Antifa was being followed was because they put it out on social media that they planned on attacking a old, liberal, leftist, disabled woman who was running for city council, who has said mean things about Antifa, and then Antifa said they were going to go shut her down. Everybody who has been around and who has paid attention knows exactly what shut her down means. It means violence. It means throwing projectiles. It means physical assaults against people who they disagree with. So, when this whole altercation started and the Patriot crowd and the Proud Boys who marched to City Hall to ensure that she had a safe engagement, who had a safe event at City Hall, since the police were not going to do anything, that they refused to do anything, the Patriots and the Proud Boys who came down there ensured that Antifa was not going to assault her. Pay attention. A right-wing group of men went to protect a left-wing woman running for city council. And they followed Antifa for a while until Tiny got shot, and then they stopped following Antifa. But they wouldn't have been there in the first place if two things wouldn't have happened. One, if the cops would have done their job and ensured a safe event, they wouldn't have gone. They wouldn't have needed to. They would have had no reason to go. And two, Antifa, as usual, Miguel Luis Laughlin is the leader of the Olympia Antifa, put it out on social media all over the place, and it was being shared by all these other Antifa groups all over the Pacific Northwest to go stand against this disabled, liberal, old woman. If people are tired of people fighting in the streets, go to your city hall and demand that the police actually do their jobs. And when they start doing that, we can get back to the old America where people can go have a rally or a protest peacefully without fear of violence. I can't wait until the day shows up where I don't have to wear a bulletproof vest just to go film an event. And since the shooter has not been arrested yet, there is a rally scheduled for the 18th of September, this coming Saturday from this video being made, and it is called Justice for Tiny. There's going to be a lot of people going to Olympia, going to City Hall to have a rally declaring that we demand justice for Tiny getting shot. Because from the city, from the media, from everybody, Tiny and the Proud Boys were the bad guys because they refused to acknowledge the truth. And the city of Olympia even put out a statement saying that they, to beware that if you're coming to this town, you're not welcome. But nobody's going to the town looking for violence. They're going to this town to demand justice. And apparently that scares them a little bit because it's going to be a problem. Because they don't like being held accountable for not holding people accountable. There's no reason why this guy isn't arrested yet. None whatsoever. He's fairly easily identifiable. They should have been able to pick up cameras from all other places since they know exactly where he went and which direction he went. And they could have probably, with some cameras somewhere, watched him change his clothes. And even not, he was by himself. So one dude walking around with some gray skinny jeans should be easy to pick up on another camera somewhere. But yet he's not arrested yet. This is the America that we currently live in, and this is why I continuously tell people to start standing up, to start going out there and making sure their voices are heard, to stand up for equal justice under the law. The police need to do their jobs. People need to be able to have their constitutionally protected right to peacefully assemble and have free speech. Even if you don't agree with their speech, they have a constitutional right to say it. Period. That's why you never, ever see a bunch of right-wingers going and assaulting people on the left. You never see a group of right-wingers going and assaulting a Black Lives Matter rally or an Antifa rally or an Antifa block party. You never saw a giant group of patriots walking into Chaz or Chop or the Red House. You never saw them. Because it didn't happen. It doesn't happen. It never happens. Because we actually believe that people have the right to free speech. Even if they're stupid, they have a right to be stupid in America. You do not have a right to assault people because you disagree with them politically. And that is why there's going to be a rally in Olympia on Saturday, standing up for Tiny, standing up for justice and freedom and liberty. And the damn Constitution that some of us in this country still hold dear to our hearts. I hope you get to go. I hope you can make it. It's going to be raining. There's going to be canopies. There's going to be ways to try to keep people, dry. Bring umbrellas. I'm speaking again. I will be giving a speech for the second time in my life. And if you can't go, tune in because I'll be live streaming the whole thing too. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this has been very informative. I hope this clears a lot of things up, and it most definitely clears up all of the lies that Antifa has been throwing around. Thank you guys.